perhaps my overall favorite lever action centerfire rifle. By the way, this is the first one I will have reviewed in TMP. Hope you're excited. Australian TMPers, I hope you're excited. We'll talk about that. This is the most outstanding, my favorite word, Browning BLR 81 lightweight. And man, is it awesome. You may detect that. You can minimize your window again. Did you get a look at it? I mean, seriously. What a gorgeous heirloom quality firearm. And I guess that's just going to pull us right into POU. Often the favorite part of the entire review for my reviewers. I hear it from you all the time. We love the POU discussion. That's because there's so much substance to the application of the things I review. Here we're talking about a wonderfully engineered, crafted, high-quality centerfire lever action gun. What do you think the primary philosophy of use would be for this? It's obvious. I hear y'all yelling at the screen. Hunting. Yeah, it is. You might find it slightly odd that here and there I will review hunting guns when I really don't do big game hunting. I was raised that way. You guys know that, who have been watching for a while. I support a hunter's rights. I'm all for it. I believe in principled hunting. You know, I'm all for that. But I don't really hunt. Don't have time, and I don't like killing. Generally speaking, I don't. Pests, different matter. Wild pigs, different matter. But let's get back to hunting. This gun, in some ways, throws me back to my Remington 700 BDL that my dad bought me for Christmas. Sadly, like I've explained in previous episodes here in TMP, I did sell it. But it had a stock just like this beautiful high gloss walnut, and I did hunt with that gun. The 700 BDL. You may remember I told you that when I did, I carried it in a gun case. Hey, but you're not ready for the deer to jump out. Dude, while I'm backpacking in, there's no deer jumping out. I hunted from a stand. We'd backpack in. We'd get up like 4:30 in the morning. I'd climb up into a tree overlooking 3 meadows adjacent to one another. And we're like, I don't know, 5 miles in, my dad and I. And that 700 BDL in 30-aught 6 chambering was my gun of choice. And I would just sit on my stand and caress that gun and go, man, that's a beautiful gun. And I got to say, my dad taught me an appreciation for traditional firearms. We're talking walnut, steel with beautiful bluing like you see in this Browning, with perfect execution. I became a fan. And I am to this day. Granted, it's a lot of tactical guns, so to speak. You know, there's a lot of practicality first cool in that stuff. And that's where I've driven the project to a large extent. And that's where I will continue to do that. Honestly, this won't be frequently. I may here and there do it. Hunting gun, it's awesome. In some ways, it's more awesome than its competition because it is a magazine-fed lever action centerfire. Don't get me wrong. I love the Marlin 336s. I love the Marlin XLR series of rifles, the Winchester 94s. Maybe some older ones like a Savage 99, but those are tube-fed lever actions, and therefore they are ballistically limited when we're talking about hunting. Now, if you're really watching this video right now, you'll see boxes of ammunition in the upper right. You watching again or just listening? On the left side, if you're observant, that's a box of Levolution. Now, this is a technical advancement where tube-fed lever action rifles can actually shoot pretty darn good. Here's one out of the box. This is 30-30, 160 grain FTX as you're reading. It's pointed, it has a polymer tip, and it can be used, obviously, in lever action centerfire guns, like the Marlin 336. However, it is not as versatile as this gun because the chamberings of this gun are very diverse. My favorite is probably what you're looking at right here. It is a 308. Similar, not identical to a 30-aught 6. A little bit shorter, pretty close in ballistics. Is it the best game cartridge? No, it's not. If I was going to get the BLR lightweight that you're looking at here for hunting, I would get it in 300 Winchester short magnum. And I have tested a gun in that. It was that Christensen Arms bolt gun. Great cartridge. It is fat. You're only going to have 3 rounds in the magazine. But I wouldn't run a 300 Win Mag here because you got a really long stroke with the lever. It's just too long. The shorter one, WSM, be better. Other chamberings, 7mm Remington mag. Look at that one. Great chambering. Then they have the 30-06 and a 270 Winchester. Look at it that there's other ones you can run with too. I really like the 308 because it's versatile in a lot of the POUs we're discussing right now. Yes, even hunting. Would I hunt elk with a 308? I wouldn't be super confident doing it. With a certain load I would, but I wouldn't take any long shots. I'd be close enough. I would probably say at the outset, and I'll just ballpark it 200 yards with an elk, with a 308. I don't want to wound the animal. I want a clean kill. I want to drop. I don't have to be tracing a blood trail over hill and dale. No. 300 Winchester short magnum would be my choice for hunting. But there's a lot of other philosophies of use, and this is where it gets interesting. Obviously collectible. It's beautiful. This is an heirloom quality gun. Let me give you some looks. And I'm going to roll in shooting footage. We shot it a lot. This very gun. We managed to keep it nice. We didn't nick there, by the way. That's not us. It came that way. This is a used firearm, believe it or not. It makes me wonder what dude bought it for and how many rounds he put through it. I don't know. But it looks pretty darn good. New. And that's even after our testing. But heirloom collectible, it's kind of like that Remington 700 that I told you about. That, do you get more pride of ownership from an AR-15 or a gun like this with a beautiful bluing job, glossy stock? It depends. It depends. I love the traditional firearms. I'll always say that. Scabbard rifle, by the way. Horse hunters love the Browning BLR series. They always have. And I'm talking going way back, like the pre-81 Belgium-produced Browning BLRs with the steel receivers. That was a favorite scabbard gun. Bolt guns, not so much, because you have a protruding bolt, but look how thin and trim this lever action is. All lever actions are that way, right? 94s, the Marlins, they're clean. They're just really nice to port around. Alaskan guides like them. Chambered, and those Marlins and 4570, they're just easy to port around. Scabbard gun. And speaking of Alaskan guides, I think it's a great Alaskan gun as well, depending on the chambering. Maybe a bush pilot gun. And you may be surprised I'm saying that because it is kind of a fancy gun, but it's lightweight. We'll talk about that here in a second. It's another reason why I just absolutely love it. And here you go, Australian TMPers. Incidentally, I think I have like 5 of them. 5 dudes down in Australia, the land down under, that actually watch TMP. I know, I'm kidding. There's more than that. There's probably 10. But dudes, my understanding is this. Oh, I said it again. My understanding, I got to class it up, ladies and gentlemen, is that this is legal in Australia. Which will kind of take us to the next one. Is it a good defensive gun? The Browning specifically. Define good. I mean, how many bolt action guns have been brought to the table and called them, a tactical bolt gun that you could use for warfighting? More than a couple. What drives to that is the firepower talk, but a lot of those bolt guns we've reviewed here, 4, 5 rounds in 308, this chambering. In WSM, it's a fatter cartridge, you're going to be 3 rounds. Is that enough? Listen, if I'm fighting for my life, no amount of rounds is enough. I want a freaking belt-fed lever action, but I can't have that. I can deal with it. I've talked about single shots being able to do the job, both in hunting and defensively, with a good marksman who can keep a cool head. And with, 5 total, can get it done, and it reloads very quickly. So yeah, I think the answer is it can be a decent defensive gun. And it's faster, a lot faster than most bolt guns. You're watching the footage. This thing goes, man. It shucks it. Defensive. Absolutely. Congratulations, Australians. I hope you can get it down there. Oftentimes they have a really hard time, or they're really expensive. They just get taxed. They're hard. Yeah. Finally, last but not least, and I probably forgot some, a bolt gun substitute. And this will kind of get to the accuracy discussion we're going to have later. BLR versus a bolt gun. It loads differently, and yet it has superb quality levels, which we're going to see right now. How does it stack up? Hopefully I'll remember to answer that in the accuracy discussion. Let's talk about design ergos and SAWC. I will start with SAWC. Check this out. 6 pounds, 8 ounces, without a scope, without a sling. For the Browning BLR 81 lightweight. That might drive to the heart one of the reasons why I love this gun so much. First up, I introed with the looks, the gorgeous looks, second cool stuff, all that. You get it. Some of you guys will get it. Some won't. It doesn't do anything for me. I like black guns. That's fine. Second kind of cool. You can't project it on your way of interpreting second kind of cool on anybody. But I like it. But I like lightweight too. Now, full up with a Weaver 2x10 scope, no ballistic reticle, kind of old school. I've had this in storage for 10 years. On Leopold aluminum rifleman rings, which are about the only low ones I can find. Look at that mount I have on there. So you're going to have a really nice cheek weld on this stock. Really clean. Full up weight, dudes. Ladies and gentlemen. 7 pounds, 4 ounces. For a 308. Get it? For a 308. A repeating 308. You're not going to match that too often with bolt guns. Some you will. You know, the Savage Axis, the Ruger American, pretty lightweight. Vanguard, pretty lightweight. They're going to come in right around that weight with a Sporter Contour barrel. They will. But SAWC is a total win for this. One reason is it has an aluminum receiver. That part is not blued. It is mimicking blue, but that is an alloy receiver. Again, once upon a time, the BLR was made with a steel receiver. I like this a lot more for the lightweight. And I don't think you lose much in aesthetics. Yes, I'm a fan of steel and walnut, the specialness of it. But if you look at the gun, like right now, can you tell that much difference? Now, if you nick this up, you're going to be able to see the white of the aluminum come through. Hey, Cerakote it or Durakote it, nothing. Are you insane? You don't do this. Now, speaking of that, not insaneness, but the different variations, they have one that I think is completely void of second cool, and it's the Browning BLR Takedown. It's in stainless steel and laminate. It breaks into 2 halves, as the name Takedown indicates. And it's cool. It comes in the same chamberings. I think that's cool. I don't know if it approaches, for me, the second cool this gun does. It's very practical. And it's a gorgeous gun. I haven't seen one in person, but I think it's an option. Keep it in mind. Go to Browning's website and you'll see the variations of the Browning BLR. But how about design and materials? How about an air-gauged barrel? I left the sticker on there because it's just funny. I like it. I'm probably always going to leave it on there. Until I sell it. I don't know if I'll ever sell this gun. I might. You never know. I'm selling stuff all the time. So this is an air-gauged barrel, button-rifled, Sporter Contour, as you can see. Has a hand-reamed chamber, apparently. And I think that's about the highest quality level you can get from a lot of production guns. You know, Browning does such a great job. This is a Japanese-produced gun, by the way. Made in Japan, as they have been for a while. That is to say, superb quality levels. Look at the checkering on this. This is another reason I love it. This is not pressed checkering. This is cut checkering. For your reference, kids, if you're keeping score at home. Pressed checkering is just imprinted with a roller, and it sucks, if you ask me. Cut checkering is amazing. This is 18 lines per inch cut checkering on beautiful, I think, American walnut on this BLR. You can tell a difference in just traction. Cut checkering really grips the hand. It lasts. Do I hate all press checkering? No. But it's got to be reflected in the price, right? If I'm getting press checkering, I don't want an expensive gun at all. Does come with iron sights, gold bead up front. Okay, rear sight in the back. Can you hunt that way? Yeah, you can. Absolutely. And then it's going to be, again, about 6.5 pounds. Incidentally, this is grade 1 of walnut. At least how Browning classifies it. Beautiful. It's a very durable walnut too. Speaking from my experience with that Remington, it had exactly the same wood. Check out the lever smoothness. And this is a rack and pinion lever system. Is it the smoothest lever gun out there? There's a lot. But when you talk about centerfire guns, I would say it's up there from my own experience. The trigger travels with a lever, so you don't have to worry about it pinching your finger. Look inside there, y'all. Where's that light? Where's that light? And you can see the quality levels we're talking about. There's actually a gear in the BLR. Very smooth. Some complaints, and I think they are justified, on the Browning BLR will revolve around the trigger, which out of box, not so awesome. In fact, it was not so awesome that I had a trigger job done on it by, you guessed it, Mr. Yoda. That's gross, man. 6 pounds, 2 ounces for the BLR post trigger job. I'm pretty happy with it now. Again, out of box, not spectacular. It is a lever gun though, and some lever gun triggers not that great. Some don't respond to trigger jobs at all. The BLR, to me, and the way I pull the trigger, seems like it did. It was worth it. I would do it all over again. So if you have a Browning BLR, get a trigger job on it. Someone that can do a trigger job. Here's your magazine. It is a box magazine. 4 rounds, 3 in Magnum, like you know. Detachment button right there. It loads pretty quick. Fits nicely. Love it. I was asking myself, hey man, can we get an extended capacity magazine for this BLR? I'm probably the only one in the world that wants that, incidentally. Most of these guys are hunters. They're just collecting it. Maybe a few recreationally shooting it. They're like, I don't need an extended capacity mag. But if we throw the lever forward, we do have a little bit of room where we could maybe get maybe a 6-rounder, 7-rounder in there. That would be cool. The gun would have to sell a lot more, honestly, for that to happen. Get in a lot of people's hands, and they go, hey, some people are going to use this as a defensive WRL rifle. How cool would that be, though? Same quality levels, maybe even polymer, kind of like a Magpul, P-Mag. Come down here, and it just clears that lever. You can have a 10-rounder. It would go down too far. I would love it. That excites me even talking about it. You have a half-cock position on your hammer. Pretty standard. Comes down here, and then they actually have a folding position. Let me see if I can demo that. There you go. Right there. I never use that. I never used it on my 94 growing up either. My Winchester 94. Look at the bluing on that all steel lever. Browning logo there. Oh, that's good looking, dudes. Really good looking. Man, rubber butt pad on there. Mounted. Perfect wood to metal fit on this Japanese produced BLR. Love that smooth sidedness of this gun, by the way. It does have a crowned barrel, incidentally. 20-inch barrel, if you're wondering. Large ejection port, so it doesn't get hung up. Reliably speaking, this gun was also amazing. 100% reliable. And that will take us to, we've covered firepower already, pretty much. Same as most bolt guns. Once again, I'll foot stomp that. That'll take us to accuracy. I had more paper. I promise if I find the actual photos, I'll roll them in. I always do. Heck, I spent the money on the ammo right there, so I might as well roll it in. Hate it when I can't find my footage. My pictures, I'm like, dang, all that effort for nothing. This is, what? December of last year. It's embarrassing. PMC's shooting good out of this gun. Yeah, and it seemed like the 150 grain load shot well out of the BLR. The heavier stuff, not so much. Getting back to that elk gun concept, you know, I'd like to shoot something heavier than 150, 180 at least. Like this round, that's totally workable as an elk gun, says me. And I can't remember if I pulled that. I felt pretty good on the trigger pulls. There's PMC going into, I don't know, 2 inches. Atomic match, that's 168 grain. It didn't shoot like amazing. I was kind of disappointed how match was shooting out there after how everything heavy shot out of it. Here's 165 grain Federal Premium 165 polymer tip. By the way, a WD is windy desert. None of this is at the range. It's all out in the desert, real world conditions. This is with very careful stability and marksmanship, which you can achieve. Remington core locked. It's this one right here. You see the group shrinking because it's a lighter weight bullet. Shot good. I think this is core locked right here too. Good. Winchester 180 grain. Okay. Privy Partisan. Shot some of that. Okay. Does it shoot as good as a bolt gun? Remember a bolt gun substitute? I would say in most cases, no, it doesn't. Even with the air gauge barrel, the Sporter Contour barrel, you just saw it. You'll see it again. I think it falls short of most, not all, bolt guns. Now, if you shoot a 150 grain load like you saw, even the PMC that it likes, it's probably going to go head-to-head with most bolt guns, which incidentally will shoot about 1.5 MOA. Savage Axis, Ruger American. You might get lucky with a really good load and go below that, but that's generally what they shot. So maybe the answer is, yeah, it will go head-to-head with a bolt gun. And again, this is probably my favorite overall caliber 308, not just for hunting, but just for everything. Defensive use, you can get, heck, PMC ammo for a lot less than you can get 300 Winchester short magnum. Yeah. Now, I didn't really remember those shots wandering as the barrel heated up. I never let the barrels cool in my accuracy testing. I just don't. I just shoot them. I don't have time, not interested. Some dudes have reported they get about one MOA with hand loads. Yeah, and I think some others said you might bed the forend and tighten it up even more. Reliability, once again, 100% on this beautiful BLR lightweight. Field strip, I ain't going to cover it. Look it up. I'm not spending the time. I want to make this review slightly shorter. How about accessories on this? I wouldn't get much else beside magazines, and they're not cheap. Imagine that. Browning magazines, about $55 a piece. 4 rounds in this 308 chambering.
Let's go check it.
That's expensive. How many would you have? Nothing. Well, it depends on your application. If you're hunting, 2. You should be able to get it done in 1, right? Defensive rifle, I don't know, 4 at least. Says me. You know, you're going to have to get some bases for your optics if you decide to run optics on it. I hope you do. You'll get a lot better accuracy. I did fire it with iron sights and it worked. But with my eyes the way they are, glass helps when I go to 100 yards. I think a lot of us fall into that category. You might be able to put some peep sights on it. Check out Williams, Marble's websites if you want to go that route. That would actually be kind of cool. Especially if you're running as a scabbard gun. Although I can't imagine just thrashing this beautiful wood in and out of a scabbard, especially at like a dusty desert shoot.
Right there. What are you talking about?
Forget about it. Finally, value. The gun's not cheap. Imagine that. I mean, if you get air gauge barrel, this level of cut checkering, finishing on the walnut, steel, not polymer, parts and pieces, it's going to be expensive. I would say probably around $850 to $1050, depending on caliber. There are some used ones out there, but not a lot. I kind of think when people buy a Browning BLR, lightweight, whatever chambering, they hang on to it. As these older folks pass on, you'll see some estate sales liquidate some of them. You may watch Gunbroker, for instance, and find them on there. Maybe scour the racks of your local gun store and you can get it for a lot less. We did. So great deals are out there. And just keep your eyes peeled. There's not a lot of them out there, though. It is not commonly known. That's one reason I'm doing this tabletop. I want to get the word out on what I think is perhaps the finest lever action centerfire gun out there. Remember, the ballistic capabilities of this gun are amazing. Yeah, the Levolution is cool, but does it come with the ballistics of a 300 Winchester short magnum? No. I mean, you can run 300 Win Mag out of this. It's strong enough because a rotating multi-lug bolt locks right into the barrel extension. It's strong. So this is not a stressed member, the aluminum receiver. It's cool. It reminds me actually of the lockup of Winchester 1300. Competitive options. There's a lot out there. And by the way, that Marlin has a new chambering, the 308 Marlin Express. It will duplicate the ballistics of a 308 Winchester out of a tube-fed lever action. So that's an option. And I love Marlin. It's great. Although I will say this, you know, since it's been taken over by the Freedom Group, I've seen some pretty spotty quality samples. I should say misses from Marlin in the past couple of years. It's not been great. Maybe get a good one, maybe get a bad one. I'm sad to see the Marlin company be bought up. I'm really not happy about that. I think old school Marlin was amazing. Freedom Group, from what I'm seeing, not so much. Maybe they get their act together and just leave them the heck alone and let them do their company the way they want to do them. I hate corporate stuff. Sorry. Oops, said it. Winchester 94, Marlin XLR. Model 71 Winchester? What was that made? Like 1935 to 71? I never shot that gun. They're out there. I love this one. Track record. The owners love this gun. Anybody owns a Browning BLR, again, in whatever chambering you want to pick, they're going to dig it. You know, just go to any website where it was reviewed. People are talking about it. They go, oh, I love this gun, man. Love it, love it, love it. It is, and I don't know if I hit this fast enough. It's fast. It's fast to shoot. With a lever, again, you won't pitch your finger because that integrated trigger, gold-plated, by the way, you can just crank right through that box magazine. Before you know it, you're going to wish you had another magazine. And it's smooth. Rarely sold. Highly beloved. It's a classy gun. Dudes. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, nutnfancy.